Hello, friends. I'm Mark Price. I'd like to wish you a prayerful, thoughtful, caring Memorial Day. Memorial Day has always been important to me, to my family. My mother was proud to have been a lieutenant in the Air Force, formerly the Army Air Corps. My father in the Navy, my father-in-law, the Coast Guard, my mother-in-law, the Army. My family had an unbroken lineage at West Point back, I think, to the 1800s. So what our country has done through the military has been very, very important to me, and Memorial Day is the time we remember those who gave that last full measure of devotion, to quote Abraham Lincoln, those who died serving this country. And I think that it's important on Memorial Day to remember those people, to remember them in our hearts, remember the ones that we knew, our family, our friends who died, but also to remember the ones that we didn't know. But it's also, I think, important to take them for who they were as human beings, to not think of them as just a name in a book, not to think of them as names on gravestones or on walls, but as real people, just like us, who breathed, who walked, who talked, who danced, who had romance, who had thoughts, who had happiness, who had joy, who had all the human issues that we have and face today. They had those things. They were real people. I've spent the last 50 years of my life trying to, as a man of faith, try to tell people about God and Christ by making the saints or the people of the Bible real, to put flesh on those bones, if you will. Because it is when we understand their humanity, we truly get the message, their message, a deeper message as to who they were and what they represented and what they set aside to follow God. And to really understand the nature of the people who died for us in this country, we have to see them as the real people that they were and recognize them for who they were and what they lost when they gave their lives for us in devoting themselves to this country. In addition to remembering the people themselves on Memorial Day, we must remember the things that they were willing to serve and die for. And going back to the Revolutionary War, it was tyranny and oppression and taxation without representation. It was freedom. In the Civil War, it was a fight against slavery to a great extent. I believe I'm right in saying that we're the only country in the history of the world, even though most every country that ever existed since the beginning of mankind has had slavery, has had racism, we are the only country in the history of the world that actually fought a battle to eradicate slavery, to move past it. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives in the Civil War, with one of the main purposes, the moving away from slavery. We're the only country to have ever done that, and that to me is amazing. We, in the 20th century, we fought against Nazism, we fought against Leninism, we fought against Stalinism, we fought against the Marxism, we fought against communism, we fought against socialism, and then at the end of the 20th century and then into the 21st century, we fought against terrorism. And the people who are behind me under these graves, or in these graves, are people who not only were willing to die, but gave their lives to make this nation a better place. So on Memorial Day, let us remember the people themselves, that they were real people, that they gave up the things that we still enjoy in our lives, and that they were fighting for something that was real. They wanted to make a difference. They wanted to stand against those things that were tearing apart human beings, that were tearing apart this nation. So let us learn from them. Let us learn to, in our own lives stand up. I remember giving a speech years ago where I kept saying, you have to stand up. You have to stand up for what you believe. You have to stand up for things in your life. Be willing to stand up and be counted. And a man came up to me after the talk in a wheelchair, and he said to me, he says, you kept saying stand up, and I started to get mad at you. Well, I started to apologize. He said, don't you dare. He says, I finally realized if I can't stand up on the outside, I can certainly stand up on the inside. The people who lived and died in this nation are people who understood what it meant to stand up for something bigger and greater than themselves. And that's what we have to remember. First, the people that passed, that died, giving their lives for us, for the nation. And also, let us never forget the things that they fought against, that they were willing to die for. And let us never allow the country to slip into a place where those things that they died for start to take over. And if that starts to happen, we must be willing to stand up. We must be willing to devote our lives and to give our lives if we are called to do what's right for this wonderful, amazing place we call home, our nation, the United States of America. Abraham Lincoln, at one really low point of the Civil War, the story says that he was having a meeting of his closest advisors, and one of the advisors said that, well, we sure hope that God is on our side. And Abraham Lincoln corrected him very fast, and he said, no. It's not about God being on our side. It's about us being on God's side. And you see, that's really what it all comes down to. Where are we in our lives? Are we people who understand the concept that we are to be in our lives, live our lives as people aligned with the God who created all things? And so this Memorial Day, let us remember the people who died. Let's remember the reason they died. And let's remember the God who created them and created all things and who gave them the courage to die. We remember all this Memorial Day. And again, to quote Abraham Lincoln, we remember them. We cannot consecrate this ground. It has been consecrated by those who have died. And we remember them. We remember all who have given the last full measure of their devotion. So again, I wish you a prayerful, thoughtful Memorial Day.